men? Do we need men?
No.
Do we need men?
No.
No?
We don't need short men.
Need men.
No!
Do you need a man?
No.
Do you need a man?
Oh, God.
Do you need a man?
No.
Do we need men?
No.
Why?
No.
Do we need men?
We need men to make us stupid.
Do we need men?
No.
Why?
Because we can be strong, independent women.
Do we need men? Most answered very quickly, no. And only one said she thought women needed a man in their lives, only one. But when men were asked a similar question, do we need women, most of them said yes. So why do you think that is?
Because men are useless. I mean,
Previously on Vulcan Soapbox.
Hell to the no on all of what they said. Just every word out of their mouths. I wanted to just shut up. Who watches that show?
We don't condone domestic abuse there. I look at that statement as the equivalent of a child, saying they don't need money or they don't need something because they're living in a house where everything is provided for them, right? Do you think that's an opinion that can or should only be held by high-income women?
Not can or should, but I think there's a little caveat to that. So I think it's held by women who have been self-sufficient for so long and just hadn't had the support and said, screw it, I don't need a man, I can do it by myself. And yes, the majority of high-income earning women do feel that way because they have had to be self-sufficient because they haven't had that support from a partner. But then there are women that haven't had that support from a partner that aren't that high income earning that still have that mindset, and it's more because that they've had to step into both the male and the female roles in their family. So I think it's just held by the women that just have been let down by men in the past.
And that's part of the issue. A lot of women who have affluence, they share their anecdotal advice based off the advantage that they have, and then they tell other women who don't have that same advantage because they're not thinking about the audience that they're dealing with and their access to being able to call a handyman, call a plumber when you feel like it. It's not cheap. And so when they disseminate those kind of messages that affect those women in negative ways, they don't suffer the consequences for that. And I think that's part of the problem. That's why it's good to counter that narrative like we're doing here on the show. Again, not in a way that it's men versus women, because it's not. As Roxanne pointed out, it's going to take two to tango and make it through this life in a way that we can all enjoy and have a good quality of it.
I'm here to stand on my soapbox and proclaim that to the world.
On this show.
I don't recognize the view without Big Whoop.
All right, make sure your microphones are muted. Make sure it's muted by the play the video.
Do we need men? Most answered very quickly, no. And only one said she thought women needed a man in their lives, only one. But when men were asked a similar question, do we need women? Most of them said yes. So why do you think that is?
because men are useless. I mean, and by the way, I want to differentiate between straight men and gay men because I think I would die without gay men. Nobody can gossip like gay men. Nobody can help you accessorize like gay men. Nobody can help you keep you from doing harm to yourself like gay men. But with the exception of somebody like Steve, I think Steve is very self-sufficient.
That's Joy's husband.
But like my husband, it takes a village of women to make sure that he's not emaciated, starving, and living in his own filth. He can,
Yeah.
How about you guys? Well, you guys are married to people that are more.
I have Handy Manny at home. He fixes everything. When things go bump in the night, he's the one that goes downstairs. When there's a bug to be exterminated, he does the extermination. When there is something to be fixed, he fixes it. He throws out the trash and he throws out the recyclables. I enjoy all the man stuff.
So wait a second. I know what you're going to say, but wait. She's really talking about a servant. Let's face it. No, it's a handyman she's talking about.
No, it's a handy manny.
Oh, it's a handyman with benefits.
We do not. Well, but the things that you're describing, you could pay somebody to do that. We're not talking about that. What about the inner life of a man? That's what this is.
Wait till you're married 20 years and you'll see how replaceable
The reason that women, I think that the reason women can stay married for as long as they do is because they have a lot of girlfriends.
They have a village.
They have girlfriends. Because I always have to initiate the conversations. He'll step up, but I have to start them.
Oh, I just told you guys I have 8 girlfriends from Panama here who are girlfriends for 50 years since they were in kindergarten. And they were saying yesterday that they've gone through divorces, they've gone through challenges, and having that village of women has made it possible.
Well, we
for
are
them.
more collaborative than men. I think
Yeah.
there have been studies that say that women have much closer friendship relationships than men do.
Because women
Again, I think we have to make a
because
difference,
women,
a differentiate gay men.
No, gay men are
in their
part
own
of our group.
category.
yeah, but we're not
Whatever,
married to gay men, okay?
Oh,
But
Okay, well-
women have conversations about their feelings. Men talk about
It's
sports,
socializing, yeah.
cars, all that stuff.
I don't know. My husband talks about his feelings with his
Maybe he's
friends.
gay. Next.
Oh, that was a lot. Wow. Let's go ahead and go around the room with you. Oh, shout out to Will. Will is on the screen. What's up, Will?
What up, though?
Lady, how y'all doing?
Yes,
What's
sir,
up, what's
man.
up?
Welcome back.
Already, man. Good to see y'all again, man.
All
What's
right,
up,
so,
Will?
yeah.
What's happening, Chief? How you doing, man?
Yeah, so I know that might have been difficult to listen to
Good,
that whole
good.
4-minute video. So
I need to take a shower.
all right, we're gonna let's just do yes or no because there's so much to unpack here. Let's see, yes or no. Yeah, agree or disagree with the video, and then we can get into our thoughts on why. Let's start off with Roxanne. Yes or no? Agree with what was said on the video.
I mean, a lot was said. I really can't say yes or no.
Okay,
But
yeah.
just like generally, men saying that they can't live without women and women saying that they can live without men, I think it just comes back down to companionship. Like they were saying, women have their community of women and men have their bros, but they can't be vulnerable with them. So, I mean, I definitely agree with the beginning of it where they said they did the poll. Yeah, I do believe a lot of men say that they can't live without women and a lot of women say they can live without men.
All right, let's go.
I'm not
Let's go
saying
with
it's my
Derek. Let's
opinion.
go
I'm
with.
saying in general,
Oh.
I do believe that's a lot of the general public's consensus.
Yeah, they was about to get down on you, Roxanne. Way to
I know.
clarify.
I just want to apologize before I say anything, Roxanne. We love you. Don't take any of this personal. Hell to the no on all of what they said. Just every word out of their mouths. I wanted to just shut up. Who watches that show?
We don't condone domestic abuse there.
But why?
Hey, I can air
It was
shaker.
a poll they took. So it definitely was a consensus of the poll. But why would you?
No. But the reason behind, we'll get into that. The reason behind the poll is not what they're thinking. The reason that a man wants a woman around is not the same reason as the woman doesn't need a man around. They
All
have
right,
that
sorry
old,
about that.
we'll
I'm
get
back
to
on. I dropped out for a minute. All right, so sorry about that. So if you
Derek
could
was
keep up
talking.
there. Who,
Yeah,
Derek was?
Derek
All
says
was-
hell to the no. We don't
right.
agree with nothing they said.
All right, let's get my guy Will in here.
I mean, I kind of caught the tail end of it, man. But the question was, do women not need men, or can they live without men? I mean, that's. I think not. I mean, the question itself, goes against our own existence. So, it's different energies. As they say, the masculine, the feminine, man, we need each other. I could never see that happening.
Yeah, that was wild. That's why I said the world's upside down when a heterosexual woman said gay men is more important than another heterosexual man. I'm like, this is wild.
I mean, what are they meaning? Do they just want us as breeders, like just to be separate and live with the girls, and we only do it for procreation?
That would have been a good question to ask. I think they did a terrible job. Really,
You get an ignorant answer from that panel.
was
Straight
up freshly.
ignorance.
Talk to me.
All right, guys. I love women, and I want to point out real quick that opinion is not the opinion shared by most women. All right, that's just the loudest segment of women. They happen to have a platform, so let's not down all women. Most women don't think like that. Now, I want to point something out real quick. These are women who live and benefit from a societal infrastructure that was built by men, right? Even post-suffrage, the infrastructure jobs are not well populated by men, right? The jobs that run the world, that keep the world running, they're not well populated by women, even after they have the choice to do so. And that's not a slight against women. It's just saying that they're perspective is very, very short-sighted, right? They're talking about we don't need them now, but forget to acknowledge that the ability for them to speak out and kind of utilize the creature comforts that allow them to say things like that. Like, oh, you can pay somebody to do that. Yeah, you can pay a man to do things that a handyman would do. So in terms of just society, I think I think their perspective is very, very skewed. I look at that statement as the equivalent of a child, saying they don't need money or they don't need something because they're living in a house where everything is provided for them, right? Why do I need money? Why do I need to get a job? I have a room, I have a bed. Yeah, who provided those things for you? I don't need you. I have all the things that I don't need you, mom, or I don't need you, dad. I have all the things that I need. Where did you get those things from? Where did those things come from? What would happen if you had to provide those things for yourself? So I think it's a skewed perspective. It's more clickbait than anything. They were trying to silence the women who actually had opinions that differed. They were ridiculing them. They were making fun of them. And I want to point that out because again, that's a very small segment of women who had a point to make and they weren't really able to make it effectively because people on their own panel didn't agree with them. Go ahead, Enos.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Can y'all hear me better now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes,
Something's
sir.
going on with my computer. But yeah, the last question I was going to ask, I just said, do we need women? I was going to structure the question better. All right, I'm fine. Seems like I'm lagging. So let's go ahead and start back with Roxanne. And do women need men?
Absolutely. Like I said, it goes back to companionship. And I think we all need companionship one way or another, no matter if it's homosexual, heterosexual, whatever it is. Because they did go back to gay men. Well, one of the girls said, well, gay men can't do the things that I want or something like that. I need my husband 3 times a week. Like, it's just that companionship. And so, yeah, I do believe 100% that we both need each other to live a fully happy life.
Good point. Derek,
You
do you
again?
think that women need men?
1,000%.
How
There's
about
no
you, Will?
woman. There's no
Go ahead.
woman here without men.
Facts.
They can't. They're just like the child you just said. You got everything now. We done built the roads. We built the buildings. We built the way. We built the travel. We built the plane. We built it all. And now you're going. You don't need us because you have a toy that can suffice you in this other area.
Yeah.
It's lunacy.
It's childish, is what it is.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Will? What do you think? Do women need men?
Man, yeah, just like everybody said, 1,000%, man. It's I really don't understand the question and why it's being asked so much. It seems like nowadays.
Well, it's an
But
agenda push for sure.
I guess they say it's no stupid question. So
Yeah.
I can't say it's a dumb question, but yeah, we'll always need each other, always.
100%. I agree 100% that women need men and men need women. I already went through my explanation, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Vulcan, in your opinion, go ahead. Do women need men?
Definitely, women need men. Are we explaining at this point, or are we just giving up first going around?
Yeah, we can start with you because at this point you're the only one who didn't get to kind of go into detail on your opinion. So go ahead, knock it out.
Yeah. So for me, I just want to give a little context of how I'm taking this question and how I'm going to attack the question. It's in what way? Obviously, for reproduction, the science is changing on that to some extent, but as of right now, we need something reproduction. I don't think that's as scintillating of a topic, so I don't think that's what they're talking about. Companionship, I guess technically you don't. I mean, you could get with somebody of the same sex if you wanted to, I guess. So, but again, that's reproduction. You can't reproduce that way currently. So, but I think that this topic, I don't think it's so much clickbait. I do think that we're seeing a cultural shift for a long time. A lot of women believe they don't need men, and that's what the TikTok debate was about. And you see this happening in a lot of different places where women are saying they don't need men. Women are saying if a man's not to their ideal liking. One statistic I think specifically said they asked women in a survey of like 450 women, if you can have 80% of what you want in a man, would you take it? They said no, that's settling. So, and that's in some ways to me saying the same thing. It's like the men don't have the same value in their lives, and it's for some of the same reason we already mentioned about, a lot of the work's been done. The world's been civilized. The lion and the tiger are locked in the cage. The roads are good, and the electricity and stuff comes on. So I do think it's important to make a distinction here, and this is where it gets more controversial, is that women don't need men.
Now,
women need men a lot more than men need women when you take out reproduction and companionship just to survive, because men occupy the roles that make life livable as far as like power and electricity and, plumbing and
civil
HVAC,
engineers, architects.
all those kind of things. Those things are overwhelmingly men, truck drivers to transport things back and forth. All that kind of stuff is primarily male-driven things because women and men are wired differently. And,
yeah.
and we
I want to caveat that that's after women have a choice of what they want to do.
Yeah.
So,
and
for
so
anyone that will argue that it's not, go ahead.
And I think to me why it's an important topic is that if women have lost sight, just in general, that's why I don't think it's really clickbait. I do think that there's a lot of women out there, a large percentage, that would say, I don't need a man outside of, sexual things or, reproduction. They would say, I really don't. Because I do think that in a lot of ways, what men have done for society and continue to for society goes swept under the rug and not appreciated. That's why a lot of ladies will say things like, I couldn't be with a man making $40,000, $50,000 a year if he's a plumber or electrician or whatever it is, not realizing how important it is for our infrastructure to keep on running. Those used to be positions that were heralded as great positions and honorable positions. The working class man, the blue collar. You see the politicians say Joe the plumber, But when you look out in the dating market, you look out at the landscape in that arena, a lot of people don't find that appealing anymore. It's lost a lot of its social prestige in a way or in importance. And I think all that's overlapping and intercepting and why women are saying I don't need men.
Yeah, it reeks of entitlement because these things are already established. They already are the way the world goes. So again, like Vulcan pointed out, we're not getting a lot of praise for those things because it's kind of par for the course, right? It's just assumed that these things will happen, that these things run almost automatically, kind of automated. Like, well, you should do these things because, right? But really, when you think about it, if we took that kind of position with things that women do, that only women can do, like childbirth, where we would say like, you should do that just because it's not celebrated, right? You got Mother's Day, you have a huge celebration when women have, birth. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't. I'm saying if we were to put the shoe on the other foot, it wouldn't be looked at the same way. So a lot of times the infrastructure jobs men are doing because that's our role in society. It's not celebrated, but that doesn't mean it's not important. And to Vulcan's point, I think a lot of women, more modern women who are living in a house that's already been built and established, have lost sight of that. And I think men who are naturally more logical, when asked that question, they answer it without as much emotion, if you will. So it's like, well, yeah, we need women. Like, that's an easy question to ask. It doesn't take anything away from us. It doesn't take any power away from men as men to say that we need women. Whereas it's kind of seen as a slight amongst the female community to say that you need men because you have a recent.
Can I interject in there? Can I interject?
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to address the point you made, and y'all feel free to interject if y'all have a comment because me and Fresh will keep going back and forth if y'all don't. We'll have something y'all want to say, but I think it's not just a gender thing on this point. Even in the world of business, a lot of people have this mindset: I got to do it on my own. I know Roxanne knows that well. I know Derek knows that well. Fresh knows that well. I'm sure you do as well. Well, we're part of mentoring people that want to get into business and just want to be a professional, whatever craft that they're working on, is understanding the need to bounce ideas off other people and learn from other people. And that you do need people to really be successful. You really do need that. Absolutely right. So that's like a human psychology thing of an ego thing. Period. Whether we're talking about gender wars or whatever people are doing nowadays, or just people trying to improve in their lives.
I agree with you, Vulcan. And for this question, though, I kind of push back against that slightly just because they're not talking about doing things for themselves. They're just talking about doing things without men. I don't think they're including other women, right? They actually kind of spoke about, as long as I have my community of women and gay men, I don't actually need a heterosexual man. So I think your overall point is valid, but I don't think it's applicable in this particular scenario to this question that we're answering right now.
Yeah, I think the video was based on more of a man as a partner, not as men in this world or our community, because she said, well, I have my handy manny. And she's like, well, you can just hire that. So she's not saying they're not saying we don't need men in general, but I think the whole focus was as a partner, we can be okay without having men as a partner.
So basically just romantically?
Yeah, I think that was the whole context of the video itself. Absolutely. I mean, men, yeah, they do a lot of stuff in the world for sure. You guys were saying the infrastructure built primarily by men, absolutely. But the video, I think, was more focused on as a partner that women are saying, because she had mentioned about a man doing stuff around the house, and then someone said, oh yeah, no, I can do fine without all the other men, but my man I need. So it's just different perspectives of partnership.
Okay. What do you think about that, Roxanne? Do you agree with that particular angle in that conversation?
I think after a while, everybody yearns for a partner. I mean, we're not built to be alone. Just like Vulcan was saying, like we have this mentality of we got to do it alone, but then we do it alone, and we don't want to do it alone.
And we're miserable.
Absolutely. And I think for a while, people get frustrated with the dating game this age, and it's like, yeah, heck yeah, I don't need a man. I can do it on my own. And then after doing it on their own, they're like, no, I changed my mind.
You know what's funny about that? When you look at that panel and the people that are on the internet that speak the same narrative, it's always the woman that makes more than six figures that can.
I was just about to say that.
I don't need a man because I got the money, so I don't have to fall back on you. So I don't have to be vulnerable. I don't have to give in. I don't have to do any of this stuff because I got a toy and I got some money. And you know what's funny about the statement? You know what's funny about the statement of her making that we can hire that? I think men can do it better. And if we stick in that vein, can do it better than a woman. Every single thing a woman can provide. I have 3 daughters. I could hire somebody to do everything, and I'm still a man. I can take care of me. I can protect me. I can do all the things that she's going to have to go up and beyond to hire a nanny, which is going to be women. It's probably not going to be men, but she's going to hire a bodyguard that protects her. And I mean, it's just the lunacy. Some of the
things. So let's real quick. Let me post that question around the table. Do you guys think that that's an opinion that's only held by high income women? Derek, you just answered. What do you think, Will?
You're muted.
You're on mute, Will. We're gonna come to you, Vulcan. I ain't forget you. Hold on to that.
Oh no, you good. You good.
Oh, okay. I thought I was put on mute. My bad. I'm sorry.
No problem.
But no, not at all. I mean, you know, there are some women who feel that way and have sustained their household by intentionally leaving the man out of the situation. You know, and those women don't make a lot of money. You know, some of them. You know, it's not really what you would call a high income, you know, 6-figure type lady or whatever. So that's shared by just certain women in general, you know, but I believe that instinctually, you know, that tribalistic type of yearning for a familial lineage that we have. I think a lot of people that grow up in a family that have, you know, a grandfather, grandmother, and, you know, sons and daughters and nieces and nephews, that's appealing to a lot of people. I know a lot of people will want to have that. And I think just women having sons, you know, being able to produce both genders, it definitely would make it something that would appeal to her if she grew up in a household with, you know, 2 parents, a grandmother. So I think that'll always be a thing, man. And
good point.
It's a beautiful thing.
What do you think, Roxanne? Thanks, Will. Do you think that's an opinion that can or should only be held by high income women?
Not can or should, but I think there's a little caveat to that. So I think it's held by women who have been self-sufficient for so long and just hadn't had the support and said, screw it, I don't need a man, I can do it by myself. And yes, the majority of high income earning women do feel that way because they have had to be self-sufficient because they haven't had that support from a partner. But then there are women that haven't had that support from a partner that aren't that high income earning, that still have that mindset, and it's more because that they've had to step into both the male and the female roles in their family. So I think it's just held by the women that just have been let down by men in the past.
I can see that. Vulcan, what you think?
About which part? Just in general?
Do you well, yeah, you were about to say something, so I'll ask you to answer the kind of roundtable question. Do you think that's an opinion held by only high income women? And then you can kind of roll into what you were going to say before we started.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what I was going to say before, but to answer the first part, I think that it's probably held percentage wise by more women who earn, we can say 6 figures. I don't know what the magical number is going to be. We could just say 6 figures right now. I do know that the average income for a woman, based off, you just do a quick Google search, is like 30,000, definitely not 40,000. So the average woman is not making that much money in America. She definitely needs a man for companionship if she wants to make it to retirement age and be able to enjoy the amenities that a lot of us like to enjoy in the Western world. So she definitely needs a man in that way. And that's part of the issue. A lot of women who have affluence, they share their anecdotal advice based off the advantage that they have, and then they tell other women who don't have that same advantage because they're not thinking about the audience that they're dealing with and their access to being able to call a handyman, call a plumber when you feel like it. It's not cheap. And so when they disseminate those kind of messages that affect those women in negative ways, they don't suffer the consequences for that. And I think that's part of the problem. That's why it's good to counter that narrative like we're doing here on the show. Again, not in a way that it's men versus women, because it's not. As Roxanne pointed out, it's going to take two to tango and make it through this life in a way that we can all enjoy and have a good quality of it. I think Freshly might be frozen. Okay, sorry, go on. You're on mute, Fresh, if you.
No, I think that's a good point. To Derek's point earlier, I just want to can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
He said he thinks men can do all those things better. I will say this: instinctually, men are protectors, right? Providers. So we put our lives on the line. I think just in terms of pure numbers, pure economics, a man could pay for everything with across the board with the same salary. A man could pay for everything that a woman does without actually kind of impacting his overall life a lot easier than a woman could pay somebody to do the things that a man instinctually does in society, right? Just, the providing, you can always get somebody, but, someone to put their life on the line, like Vulcan was saying, you got to hire like a bodyguard, someone to protect you, or at least get a weapon, have someone train you to do those things. Those things are going to be high cost, high dollar things.
Yeah, security systems that ladies are getting, and the dog sales being on the rise as more single women are buying homes. That's when you see all those industries are raking in all kind of cash they would never have gotten
100%.
50 years ago.
Yeah. But where do you think that protection instinct comes from when folks train dogs? They train dogs to act in scenarios like a man would in terms of protection.
And I want to say another thing. A lot of the studies show, and you see this popping up on the news, where they're warning women when you go to the mechanic shop or you go to get a car, bring a guy with you a lot of times, because they are going to target women to pay more extra money, pay more money than they exorbitant amounts of money. So even when to Derek's point about men doing it better, right, wrong, or indifferent. Men tend to be less agreeable, so they're more likely to want to negotiate and be confrontational about prices and raises. That's why you see a lot of corporate women go to assertiveness training, so they can learn to be more assertive in the workplace, so they can get those promotions, get those raises. So to Derek's point about men doing those things better, just how men are biologically wired with testosterone and stuff like that, they're more likely to want to fight to get what they think is right.
It comes natural to us.
More than ladies would do on average. So that's to Derek's point why men would do it better on average. That's not to say that all men do it better than all women, because there's a lot of women who do it way better than men.
Yeah, and that's a very good clarification.
Yeah, in the black community specifically, black women out earn black men. I saw a statistic that the only city in the country where black men out earn black women is Houston. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know,
Also,
so
you know, you got to point out that black, and now that's a perfect stat, but you also got to point out when you're looking at those stats and comparing them across the board that black women are a massive minority, period. So even those numbers in terms of across the board averages are not really moving the needle.
Yeah.
To change the average. I'm gonna go ahead.
I'm here to stand on my soapbox and proclaim that to the world.
On this show.
This is the hottest show on the planet right now.
What's the debate? Ain't no debate.